Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode, and welcome back to The Bridge to Mastery. This is day number 108. Yesterday, we talked about how we act, how we behave, how we move into a space like we are that person. And today we're going to be talking about something very interesting that comes on the heels of that, and that is the self-efficacy loop. Because belief doesn't happen just because. Belief happens with evidence. Belief happens with history. Belief happens because of a loop. And that's what we're going to be spending some time today talking about. You've been here for 108 days, 108 days. And you now have created some confidence. You've created some belief. You've created some evidence. And we're going to talk about how that loop works and how it is set up to help you be successful. Hey, welcome, and we'll see you on the walk. So you are a consistent person and you have self-efficacy. So how did you become that person? You did some things and those things produce some other things and those things produce some belief and those beliefs produce some other things. That is called a loop. So an action happens, you take an action despite how you feel. And because you took that action now causes you to have evidence. That evidence causes you to have more belief in your ability. And so because you have belief in your ability, you take more action. And that action in turn causes more evidence. That evidence causes more belief. That belief causes more action. And that, my friend, is the self-efficacy loop. So, as you heard me say, and you've heard me saying over the course of time, that every time you show up, every moment, every time you have pushed through, what you were doing was not only building a pattern, but you were building a core set of beliefs, and that core set of beliefs becomes evidence, and that evidence fuels your action. Let's talk about the working definition, right? So self-efficacy is the evidence-based belief that what I do, my actions and my decisions and my consistency are able to put me in a posture, in a position where I can be successful. So notice the definition. It is evidence-based. It is the fact that I have done some things and I continue doing things. And those things, as I do them, become evidence for me. And that evidence fuels my belief. And my belief ultimately fuels what I do. And it grows. So each time you take an action and the belief grows, then your ability to take on more and to do more and to believe more grows. Because each action is amplified and the belief is amplified behind that. You see that vicious cycle that happens? And that really is what we want. We want to be in a position where the things that we do are really reinforcing the things that we want to do. They give evidence, they give support, they give an idea, they continue to give us all of the benefits that we want in terms of our efficacy. So don't forget the definition of efficacy. And now let's talk about the loop. So what's the anatomy of a loop? And that's really what I just described. There's an action. So there's something that we want to do, right? There's some behavior that we want to do. And there is a sequence that has to happen for that behavior to take place. Or that whatever it is to take place, okay? We want to go on a journey, we want to take a trip, we're going to start a class, we want to write a book, whatever it is, there is something, a sequence of things that you've got to do to go in that direction. And this is when we talk about SMART goals, this is where those SMART goals come into play. Because what you're doing is you're really outlining the steps that it takes for you to get to that destination. And each of those steps is an action. And the very first step is the step usually is the one that causes the greatest discomfort. Because remember, like I said, it is the space where we have our greatest growth. It is the line between the known and the unknown. And so that step is what we're going to define as the action. That very first thing, that is what you need to do. So you've outlined where you're heading. You have these SMART goals. You have these items that you're going to do that are going to be the things that push us in the direction of success. And so now you have that first action that you need to do. So it is the thing that you have to do. That's step number one. And then you are going to complete that step, which is why it's important for those steps to be manageable, for them to be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you're going to do that, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that those steps are doable. That means that you've done the research. You understand what it takes. You understand the resources that it will take, so that when you attempt it, you are actually going to complete it. You want small, manageable steps, because every time you do that, every time you endure, every time you push through, every time you're successful, every time you are able to complete it, you are providing evidence for the continuation of that loop, if you will, or continuation of those steps as we move to that goal. That evidence, however small it may be, which is why, we talked about some small things that you can do, right? We talked about making your bed and so forth. You remember that? Every time you do that, even as small as it is, your body, your brain says, hey, we complete things now. This is what we do. That's who we are. Those are the type of people that we are. So we are creating that evidence. So evidence produces belief. That experience that you did strengthens confidence. Yeah, I made my bed. That's right. I've completed it. My brain says, okay, another checkbox. Oh man, I got up this morning. My brain says, ooh, look at that, another checkbox. I made a good choice about my water drinking. Oh, look at that, another checkbox. As simple as those are, each of those is amplifying. Each of those is contributing. Each of those is providing evidence. And the more evidence you have, the more belief happens. And that belief, notice, we're never asked to simply believe just because of belief. We're asked to believe based on evidence, based on what has happened in the past, based on what's been done in the past. That's a whole nother conversation that we can have, right? So based on the evidence, you now have belief that's grown. And as that belief grows, then that reinforces that, hey, let's do this again. Because we like that. We like the fact that we are successful. We are those people now. And that is the loop that happens. That each thing builds on the other. And ultimately, every time you act, you build proof. Every time you build proof, you build belief. Every time you build belief, then you reinforce that this is the person that you are, and this is how we roll now. And that is the anatomy of the self-efficacy loop. This is not a motivational trick. That's how the body works. That's how the brain works. That's how things happen in the body. The brain updates your model of yourself based on the evidence that you give it. That's beautiful. That's why things like visualization, mindfulness, positive self-talk, the inner coach, that's why those things are so important, because they are constantly always modulating or informing what we do and how the brain sees us. Because we have a particular vision of ourselves that's been created. And every time we do something that supports that, then that vision, that model that's in our mind continues to evolve and continues to change and continues to grow and continues to be updated. And this is based on what you consistently do. So the things that you do every now and then, That's not what's updating you, right? So you may go to the gym every, I don't know, once every couple of months. Guess what? Then you're not a person who goes to the gym. That's not what the body says. That's not what the brain says, right? Because you occasionally do that. But you know who will grab onto that sometimes? The inner critic. So we're always constantly wanting to give, we want to be consistent as we're talking about the places that we, or the person that we're trying to develop, the person that we are trying to get our brain and our mind to update the model for us to become. So every time you're consistent, every time you do something, it is another piece that's been added to the puzzle that says that this is who we are, this is how we grow, this is how things function now. Okay? All right. So what do we want to do when we talk about breaking the myths of wanting motivation first? So there are a couple myths, or there is a myth. And the myth is that in order to start, in order to do, in order to move, then you have to really first believe. And that's not the case. Over and over and over, experience is taught. And our change theory, our psychology, the way our body is built and bent says that that's not the case. We're taught that we need to wait until we feel sure, feel ready, and then we act. And the number of people that are now, who have not done because they didn't feel, who really could have been successful, I mean, that list grows and grows and grows. And you are not now one of those people, because guess what? You've moved, you've changed. So act first, belief will meet you there, is what I want you to embrace. Act first, belief will meet you there. That's why when we talked about acting yesterday, acting like you are that person, showing up with the power before you really believe in the power. Yeah. You put that step forward. You do one step, and then another, and then another, and then another. And sometimes you're just going through the motions of your skill. You're going through the motion of your skill. Because you have the ability to problem solve. So you have somebody gave you a list. Okay, this is what we do, this is how we do this. You have no idea how to do it. But there's a list. I can follow that list. And every time I do something on the list that takes me in that direction, I become more confident. That confidence builds belief. The belief builds my ability, or my thought that I can do this. And so that pushes me, induces me to do it again, and do more, and do better. And after a while, guess what? This is what we do. When you walk the first day, yeah? Remember that? When you walk the first day, you may not have believed that you could do 100 and, how many now? 108? Waiting for this truck to go by. Yeah, there you are. All right. Maybe you couldn't do it. Maybe you were feeling as though some cars there. Maybe you didn't believe it, but you took that first step. You did the first day, and after the first day, then you did the second day, and after the second day, the third day, and the fourth day, and the fifth day, and sixth day, and seventh day, and eighth day. And can I go on and on and on and on? I'm gonna pause for a minute. This truck is keeping some noise. Hold on a second. Well, it's still there, so we'll keep going. Yeah, so you weren't certain on the first day, but you kept at it, and now you are 108 days in. When you chose to eat a better meal, you weren't 100% motivated that it was going to work this time. Maybe it didn't work last time. Maybe you didn't think you could continue that meal plan. Maybe you didn't think you could continue that life change. You didn't think you could spare that $100 if you're trying to save. You didn't think you could write those 2 pages if you're writing a book. You didn't think you could go live if you're doing a podcast, right? All of that, all of those things, sometimes it took you making that first step for you to get in that direction. Here's one. You didn't think you could fast. You didn't think you could exercise. You didn't think you could get your steps in. You didn't think you could sleep on time. You didn't think you could journal. All of those things, all it took was you taking that first step. And when you did the first step, then the second one came, and then the third one came, and then the fourth one came. When you spoke up, when you spoke the truth to your inner critic, you may not have believed what you were telling the inner critic. And the inner critic still whispered, I'm supposed to be going back this way. I saw the truck and I changed my plan. Okay. So all of that, those are all things that you may not have been sure about, but taking that first step helped you move in a positive direction. And now, here we are. Here we are down the road, 100 days later, 108 days later, and you're doing what you do. But you moved in those cases anyway. And now you don't just believe, because you got evidence. You don't just believe that you can, but now you believe that you are. I walk. I am someone who walks. I am someone who's consistent. I am someone who has self-efficacy. I believe in my ability to do all those things. So, what does a loop look like? We talked about the anatomy. And remember that you are always reinforcing a loop. You're reinforcing this loop, or you're reinforcing a different loop. What loop are you reinforcing? Yeah? So you're always doing something. Maybe you're doing the avoidance loop. You avoid things, which creates doubt. Doubt creates disengagement. Disengagement creates more avoidance, more apprehension, and ultimately leads to failure. Ultimately leads to us not being successful. Or you take an action, the action creates some evidence, the evidence creates belief, belief creates progress, and so you move. You move. So the question is, which loop are you reinforcing? Because you're doing one of the two. Even if you say, well, I'm not really doing anything, I'm just hanging out. Well, guess what? Hanging out is a loop. And that falls into that avoidant loop. It falls into that mediocrity loop. It falls into that loop that says, okay, I'm just going to be here. I'm not going to make a decision. I don't have anything that I need to do. Just a second. I just had someone stop and ask me what I was doing. So I was explaining to them our bridge to mastery that we're doing right now. So which loop are you reinforcing? And so you want to ask yourself, which one, what do I have? Which loop am I having? I was talking about just sitting, right? So even if you're saying, well, I'm not avoiding anything. Well, if you're not in the process of growing, limitless living, if you're not in the process of experiencing, if you're not in the process of speaking into the community, guess what? That's not limitless living. So what are we avoiding? What are we not doing? What have we given up? What have we said, okay, this is it right now. This is all I got. Is that a fixed mindset? Is that a growth mindset? So what are you doing? Which loop? Which loop? Is that loop leading you to your North Star? That North Star statement we came up with? Is that loop that you're building, that you're reinforcing, is it taking you where you need to go, where you need to be? Right? Because it's one or the other. And here's the good news. Want to hear the good news? The good news is all it takes is one step, one action to begin short-circuiting that negative loop, that avoidant loop. That's all it takes. You can make a decision right now at this moment. You only need one loop breaker to start the loop over. And we can do that because that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been working on. That is limitless living. That is consistency. That is self-efficacy. All of those things come because we took one step. And so your next step after these 100 days, 109 days, after this mastery, right, this bridge to mastery, is going to take one step. That's all it takes, one step. We're in this loop, we're in this consistency loop. We're going to reinforce this one because we're going to continue our day. We're going to continue being people who show up. We're going to continue being people who do things for our health and do what is necessary. We're not going to shirk. We're not going to give up at 80%. We're not going to turn back because something was difficult. We're not going to have a breakdown and throw our hands up in the air and give up because we couldn't figure something in our schedule out. Yeah, whatever it is, Limitless Living says, I'm going to do what I need to. I'm going to find a way because I'm not letting anything, scheduling, other people, history, my doubts, none of that. Because this person that we've created, this person that we're growing, oh yeah, we are efficacious. We are efficacious. So how do we build a loop? How do we build a loop that serves us every day? So this is a framework. I want you to try this, right? And you get your journal out, write this down. We're not at a challenge yet, but go ahead and write this down. So number one, you want to name a goal. I want to blah, blah, blah. Let's see. I'm going to name a goal. I want to improve my interaction with my community. Right? So that's what I want to do. That's my goal. I'm going to have to sit down and I'm going to have to smart it. All right? And what's the first action? What's the first action with that? Well, something small. What's something that we can do today? What's something I can do today? Well, what I did was, for this episode, I created a graphic. I created a graphic that, I'm waiting for these cars to go by. Create a graphic that I'm going to post. And I want you to go out there and find it. You can print it out. You can put it on your wall. You can put it on your computer as your wallpaper. You can just have it in your photos so you can look at it again. And when you've done that, I want you to drop a note in the section, right, in the comments that said, I got it, right? I got it. So boom, there it is. All right, so what am I going to do? And then track the evidence. So so you guys are going to be my evidence, by the way. So get out there and download it and go ahead and say, I got it. I got it. I got it. That's what I want you to do. I got it. And then celebrate. So one, you name a goal, you pick the first action, you're going to track it, write it down, speak it, acknowledge it. Celebrate the belief. Celebrate the belief. Say to yourself, this is who I am now. I am somebody who interacts with my community. All right, I'm celebrating. I interact with my community. The loop doesn't ask for perfection. It just asks that you do it. Asks that you show up. Asks that you take that first step. So whatever it's going to be, if you're going to write a book, I'm telling you, there's some books in you guys. There's some books in you gals. There's a podcast. What I want you to do is, if that's what you do, say I'm going to write a book, sit down. All right, what's one step that you can do? Well, here, and here's an interesting one. All right, there is virtue in planning. There's virtue in planning. But sometimes we plan too much. We sit down and we perseverate, and it just isn't quite the way we want it. And I'm telling you, this series that we are doing, almost didn't happen because of that. Because I was planning and planning and planning and redoing and rewriting. But at some point, you've got to say, it is what it is. And notice, I think I told you guys the scenario or the story about the professor who said to his students, well, he divided them in two. So you guys, you can try as many times as you want and then turn in a final project. And then you guys, this other half, you go over there and you guys work it out. I want you to get the details right and then turn in the project. Now the group that did it over and over and over and over, their project was better. Why? Because they learned each time. It was an iteration. Each time they became more confident. Each time they began to believe. Each time they were pivoting, improving, changing, looking at this, looking at the angle, looking at it from a different side. And so when the final product came, it was great. It was better. And so that is your life. Oh man. Oh, this just came to me. This just came to me. Hold on. I'm gonna have to pause this for just a second. All right, so I'm back. Now listen to this. We're talking about this loop that you do something, you take an action, the action causes belief, or gives you evidence, evidence causes belief, and belief causes you to repeat and redo. Do you realize that you only have one opportunity for this life? Oh, yeah, this just came to me. You only have one time in this entire lifetime to try it. And you can stop and you can try to get it perfect every single time. And the more you try to get it perfect, the more time goes away. And you only get to try it a few times. Whereas if you're out there saying, man, look, it is what it is. I got this idea. I'm gonna try it. Let's put it together. Let's get it out there. Let's write these pages. Let me go talk to somebody. Let me tell somebody about this. Let me try to get my weight down. Let me try to get my blood pressure down. Let me try to get my blood sugars down. When you try it, every time you're trying, you're producing evidence, y'all. You're producing a better iteration. You're looking at, say, well, that didn't work out. Let me try this thing. And that didn't work. Let me try this thing. You tried 100 times, 1,000 times, and you get the benefit. But if you only try it once, if you wait until it's perfect, you're gonna try it one time. And if that doesn't work out, you know what happens? Doubt begins to set in. So I'm telling you, just like that popular brand, just do it. Just do it. What do you got to lose? What do you have to lose if you say, I'm gonna do something healthy? What do you have to lose if you say, I'm going to do something for my relationship? What do you have to lose if you say, I'm going to do something to save some money or put myself in a better space? What do you have to lose? It's all a gain. It's all a gain because you are doing things. You are trying. You're out there. Your feet are hitting the ground. Every time you do that, your brain, your body, your coach says, yeah, this is what we do. This is how we roll. This is the person that we are. I got to do that. I got to do an episode on that. Okay? So name the goal. Pick the first action. Track the evidence. Celebrate the belief. So, what are some daily loops that we can build, that we should build, that we have to build? Some daily loops. Let me see, I'm going to walk up here. Try not to walk in the driveway. Okay. To stay in the efficacy loop, right? You want to build small rituals. Small rituals. Because we're trying to stay in the efficacy loop. Number one, paramount, is we want a morning routine. Yeah, I know. We've talked about it. We've said it. Morning routine. What is the thing that you're going to do? Today I will move. Today I will speak. Today I will eat like someone who believes. What is your morning routine? How do you set yourself up for the day? What do you do? What do you say? What do you create? What have you done? What have you put in place that doesn't rely on your motivation? All right, morning routine. So we're trying to talk about staying within the self-efficacy loop. That's what we're doing. All right, so morning routine. You build a morning routine. Number 2, a daily proof list. 1 or 2 things that prove that, yeah, this is who we are. This is how we roll. We talked about the I Can journal. Another great place for the I Can journal. So everything in there is evidence. Everything in there is proof. Everything in there is a data point, a piece of data that says, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to imagine it. I can just go back to my journal and say, okay, I did that. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this other thing. Come on, come on. What do you have? What do you have that is proof that you can do this? Right? You want to rename the I can do? Well, don't rename it. But you can put in parentheses, my proof list. All right? This is my I can journal, and this is also my proof list. Put it in parentheses. And then nighttime belief check. What did I do today to reinforce what I believe? Oh, what did I do today that reinforces this? Every day you're either reinforcing what you are or you're reinforcing what you want to become. Those are the only 2 options. We're not reinforcing the avoidant. We're not reinforcing the negative loop. We're reinforcing this loop. And if you do that every single day that you show up, man, success is going to be beating on your door. You're going to have to beat it away. You're going to have to beat it away. Say, no, I can't. I can't take any more success. I've had it. I'm done. No more. Can you imagine what that's like? So here's some challenge questions that I want you to do. Or here's the challenge, sorry. Grab your journal. Grab your journal. Remember everything that we're doing, we're documenting because we're writing that manual. This is our manual. This is our manual for success. So one, your challenge is to complete 1 full loop today. 1 full loop. All right, so you're going to find something that you want to do. You're going to identify that first step. And you're going to take action on that step. You're going to capture the evidence, whatever it is. Remember I told you that you're my evidence for this right here. Right? You're going to capture the evidence. You're going to evaluate it. You're going to look at it objectively. Right? How did it go? What did I do? You're going to reflect on it. And you're going to use that belief. You're going to use that belief to take another step tomorrow. Okay? So I want to say out loud, I act because I believe. I believe because I act. I'm caught in a loop of becoming and love who I am becoming. This pollen is driving me crazy, y'all. So let's say that again. I act because I believe. I believe because I act. I'm caught in a loop of becoming, and I love who I am becoming. Oh, yeah. That's the self-efficacy loop, y'all. It is amazing. So self-efficacy isn't a finish line. It's a loop. One that keeps building, one that keeps growing, one that keeps expanding. Because every time you make a decision, every time you show up, you're saying yes. And you're putting yourself back into that loop. And every time you put yourself in the loop, you're creating evidence. Evidence leads to belief, and belief leads to action, and action leads to success. Man, I'm glad that we are on this journey. We're on this bridge to mastery. Thank you for joining me. We're coming back tomorrow, day number 109. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for Endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you Take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. We're not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be successful. We are presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you on the walk. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. And as we approach the end of our 100-day walk to consistency and health, I want to pause and invite you to look ahead. Because what we've built together is just the beginning of an even more powerful journey. Over the past 100 days, you've developed a habit. You've developed resistance, resilience. You've developed strength, and things that form the cornerstone of your success. Now, as we close this chapter, I'm excited to share that our next series is on the horizon that's going to build on everything that you've learned so far. In the upcoming series, we want to dive deeper into advanced strategies that harness your newly cultivated strengths, refine your mindset, and elevate your strategic thinking. Imagine transforming daily consistency into an unstoppable force that propels you to tackle even greater challenges with confidence. My vision for the next phase is simple: to empower you not only to sustain your current success, but to channel it into innovative strategies that drive you past these impacts that you've had to more lasting, more fulfilling impacts. We've explored how to leverage your inner strength and channel it into areas of leadership, creativity, and advanced personal growth. And we're going to go further. The habits you form are the foundation on which you can build a life of limitless potential. Every lesson, every win, every setback during the past 100 days has prepared you for what's next. Think of today as a bridge where the consistency and the discipline that you've mastered become a stepping stone towards a future when strategy meets mindset. In the next series, it's designed to help you integrate these principles to every aspect of your life, making your progress both sustainable and exponential. I invite you to stay tuned and actively participate as we embark on this new chapter. Reflect on your journey so far and consider the way that you can take these lessons to the next level. Let's step into the future together. Thank you for being part of this transformative journey. Your growth, resilience, and commitment are what this community needs. Get ready to embrace the next series, where your strengths, strategy, and mindset will propel you to even greater heights. Stay tuned, and I'll see you as we begin this exciting new chapter together.